Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 10 of Trillionaire. Last episode we got our ME system, at least the basics of it, up and running. Between episodes I've made a few small changes. First of all, I've added just enough energistics, so if we want to take any recipe and encode it, we don't need to have one of the item for it to like import the ghost item. That's literally all just enough energistics does as a mod, so it doesn't affect gameplay in any way other than making it slightly less painful to import recipes. The other thing I did was that I hooked up these drawers to our ME system so we could just natively access their contents. All right, so getting on to today's tasks, I'd like to start off with a couple, I guess you call them quality of life things. First of all, I want a cobbleworks. Right now, I don't have a cobbleworks. If I want cobblestone, I have a cobblestone generator, but I have nothing that, if I need sand, I have to pass it like through my sag mill. It's a lot of work to make sand or glass or something like that. So I want to set up a cobbleworks that at least does cobblestone, gravel, sand, probably silicon, glass. That's probably a good start. So for that, we'll use the Material Stoneworks facility again. It's not a fully complete cobbleworks, but it produces the stuff we use relatively common. So stone, gravel, sand, glass, silicon. I don't actually know if we need silicon that much because I make it on site for the processors, but whatever, it's one machine. And cobblestone just comes directly from the generator. So, yeah, there we have it. All right, moving. Oh, and it's all hooked up to the ME system, obviously, through a drawer. Moving on, I want a tree farm of some sort. This whole time, I've been manually chopping down dark oak trees, which has worked fine because dark oak trees are very large and we have vein miner, but I don't want to chop trees anymore. So let's start by getting rid of this stuff and maybe I'll put a tree farm where it was. There's a whole bunch of different tree farms available in this pack, ranging from the forestry farm to I suppose you could do it with open computers or computer craft. But my preferred one is the Ender Isle Farming Station. The other option not shown here is the Industrial Foregoing Farmer. But anyways, I prefer the Farming Station because it gives the trees a growth speed boost. So it's by far the fastest of the options. It's also one block that does everything, which is nice. However, making it requires a Z Logic controller. I made the Splice and Slice with a zombie head, thinking I have plenty of zombie heads, right? Well, now I had exactly one zombie head, so I now can't make the Z Logic controller for the farming station. And the shop doesn't actually sell zombie heads. It sells other mob heads, but not or specifically it sells wither heads. I mean, I pay $1,000 for a zombie head right now. Unfortunately, I can't do that. So I think we have to set up a mob farm of some sort. I'll buy a drop of evil. We can set up a very simple cursed earth mob farm. Industrial Foregoing makes for some very easy mob farms because their crusher has a huge range. This is a 9x9 interior room, and the crusher just covers the whole thing. So I don't need to put any range cards or any like fans or nothing fancy. Just turn it into cursed earth. Mobs spawn, mobs die, it gets drops. Simplest thing in the world. Alright, so this produces essence and mob drops. I'm going to set up a thing to store the drops and store the essence. Probably drops goes in drawers. Hey, look, we got a creeper head already. Drops goes into drawers, essence goes into, I don't know, some type of tank. Can I make huge tanks? Like the huge extra utilities tanks? What are they called? Gargantuan or something like that? Where is it? No, they're drums, right? Can I make not the creative one, this one? Yeah, I believe so. All right, let's store it in this drum. It holds like 65,000 buckets or something like that. And yeah, I know you can make demon ingots some way or another. Maybe like throwing lava or gold into lava or something. Easier to buy it, even though it costs like 20 times as much. Again, it's good to be rich. Not the world's best mob farm, but it'll suffice. So the items that don't have a home temporarily sit in a trash chest until it fills up, and then when new items get put in here, the trash chest automatically voids last in, first out. So, or rather, first First in... Wait, which way does it void? I don't know. I would expect it to void as a queue. So, but I'm not exactly sure how it behaves. Anyways, I'm a couple slots are reserved, like redstone and glowstone from witches. I don't know, all this armor I don't care for, but whatever. This has produced one zombie head, which is enough. So I can use that to make a Z-Logic controller, which can then in turn make my mob farm. Or not my mob farm, sorry, my tree farm. Go. For where to put the tree farm, let's actually level out some more terrain over there. Tree farms tend to cause a lot of light updates, so putting that nearby can cause visual lag. For this, I want to use a builder, because that's probably the easiest way to actually... Hold on, can we make a filler? Oh, no, not usable in survival. Dang it. The filler is strictly worse than the builder. Absolutely worse than the builder. It's just a very cool block, but it doesn't work, so... Builder it is. The builder, however, does require us to make the machine frame, but yeah, all we're missing now is the Enderium gear, which we can make one of very quickly. And once we have one machine frame, we can do our thing that we did before with the UU matter and scan it and print a whole bunch of them. I'm sure these are like, you know, we get 50 per millibucket of UU matter or something like that. So they're basically, once we make one, the rest are basically free. Ah, my bad. They cost 100 microbuckets, so we only get 10 per millibucket of UU matter. And I don't know. However, we will. I don't know. However, we will pay for these. Oh look, we have enough. Ah, who'd have thought? It's occurred to me that I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've used the builder for building, and whereas on the other hand, the number of times I've used the builder for unbuilding is far greater. I mean, like when it's a quarry, it's basically unbuilding. When it's when you're like voiding stuff, it's unbuilding. Really, it should be called an unbuilder, I think. Anyways, it flattens terrain perfectly fine. Don't ask me why, but the farming station needs a hoe to plant trees. It also needs an axe to harvest them. The axe makes sense. The hoe less though. But anyways, for now I just provide it with one starter tool, and I set up a system where it crafts replacements using the wood that it harvests. So it'll make stone tools by, you know, some of the wood it harvests. It's sent to these crafters. One makes hoes, one makes axes. You can't technically... Well, you could make them both in the same crafter. However, you could run into a problem then that the output slots get jammed. I guess no, you could... Never mind. You can filter the output slots, can't you? Oh well, I've already set up two crafters. So anyways, then all I have to do is take the rest of the items that come out. That'll be the spare saplings, the let's see, what else comes out of here? Spare saplings, apples, and the extra wood, and we can pour those into drawers. So the farming station automatically prioritizes recycling saplings, so any that make its way to the output slot we can safely store. Tree farm is completely done. So let's move on to what I think will be today's main project, and that will be ore processing. It won't be the same ore processing we're used to because we don't actually have like a quarry of any sorts. We actually choose which ores we want to buy from a shop, well, presumably from an auto shop, and we'll just, you know, I want to set up a system that when we get low on resources, we just automatically buy what's needed. So I'd say resources come in two forms. Well, obviously more than two forms, but I'm going to break it down into two forms. There's resources that you just buy and use as is. That's like obsidian, glowstone, that might just be it. The stuff that you bought, I'm sure there's stuff in other tabs, maybe? No, maybe not. I mean, everything else here I could just buy on demand. So I guess it's just obsidian and glowstone. I just want an automatic stock keeping system where if my obsidian supply falls below X, then we buy. Likewise for glowstone. Let's do that real quick because that's the low-hanging fruit. The logic here is quite simple. We can use level detectors or level emitters to detect when we have either above or below a threshold of an item. So here, if we have less than 2,000 pieces of glowstone, this level emitter turns on, and we can tell an auto buyer to go, hey, buy me some glowstone. And it just buys glowstone. I have it configured to 64 a second until the drawer has over the threshold. Well, until the network has over the threshold. Because the item it's buying gets seen in the network, then pretty soon, in fact, later, let's let you do per tick so that you turn off quicker. I just want it on second while debugging. I mean, I'll leave it on second. I don't know, the difference probably is insignificant, but whatever. It buys until we get above the threshold, and then the level emitter turns off, and auto buyers only run while they're redstone powered. So this is no longer running, and it requires a strong redstone signal. So the weak redstone signal being emitted from this buyer isn't enough to turn that one on. So anyways, this one's configured for obsidian. So all I have to do is set, let's see, item per second, 64 obsidian. And this buys obsidian until it reaches the threshold. All right, so those are the easy ones. Now for some of the more tricky, well, the majority of the items here are going to be slightly more tricky because the processing patterns for them is a bit more complicated, right? So like iron ore, we want to probably buy dependent on our iron ingot count. However, we want to buy iron ore. We can't directly buy iron ingots, so we're going to need some type of processing between the buyer and the where we ultimately store the items. For that, I want to set up a generic way that can process almost all of these ores. So I'm thinking the easiest way is probably to do a little bit of progression, get into mechanism. In fact, the mechanism casing is already the next casing, or the next quest. And then we can use mechanism machines in their like elite tier, because I don't think ultimate tier machines work yet. And have that do our processing because they are extremely quick. According to the quest book, this is the last of the casings. So now we have unlocked basically all the tech stuff in the pack, I think. At least all the casing-based stuff. There's still like Draconic Evolution, which we're obviously not quite at yet. But anyways, and our steel casing, and this is the last time we'll be using the scanner for a while. I think we've scanned all the good stuff that comes out of it. That's not true. There's one more casing. There's the nuclear craft casing. I mean, I guess it's technically not a casing, it's a chassis. I don't know. Anyways, what is this advanced chicken coop? Is it actually a chicken coop? The last advanced chicken coop I got was an ender portal. This looks like an actual advanced chicken coop, huh? That seems to be of dubious value. Maybe there's something valuable in the chest? No, that's just item collection for your chickens. Alright, I'm not going to build it. That's weird. When you put it away, it becomes a different item. When you take it out, it becomes this. So if it's still an aqua base. Oh, now it's a different item. How did this work? I mean, I don't think I want one of these either. That's huge. But no, it's also useless. Start off in mechanism, you have two machines, the metallurgic infuser and the enrichment chamber. There I want to make basic control circuits because these are a replacement for the circuits from, what's that, industrial craft, and they're much easier to make than the industrial craft circuits, right? It's basically one step instead of like 7. So how do we make those? Redstone plus osmium. Alright, so we could just directly use redstone as is in the metallurgic infuser. However, if we pass it through the enrichment chamber first, we increase its potency by 8 times. Basically, we use 1/8 the amount of redstone. Also, while I'm at it, I think I saw that the upgrades... Where's my shop? There's a shop here. The mechanism upgrades are available for sale here. Yeah, so speed and energy. They only stack to 8, but each machine can use all 8. So, put all the upgrades in, and it'll make it faster. Nice. Uses 200 RF a tick. That's no big deal. And when I can make all the machines I want cheaply, I tend to like to have one metallurgic infuser per whatever you call this, like catalyst. Not really a catalyst, right? It gets consumed. But because by having one machine per different input, I don't have to worry about dealing in exact amounts all the time. It makes life that much simpler. And here we have it. First few basic control circuits. I also then want to make all these various alloys because I want to at least get to the elite tier factories. The factories just process more stuff at a time than these basic machines. So this is redstone and iron. All right. I've got plenty of that. So hurry up. We actually probably might need to make more energy soon. These machines, the normal version here uses 200 RF per tick to run one slot, right? The factory version goes up to 7 slots, so it uses 7 times that energy. Anyways, from there, let's actually, here, I'll make the basic tier installer and show you how the factories work. The factories are great. I think it's getting dark. Are we? Yeah, it's Eclipse Day. That means day 252. I assume that's a multiple of 36 because all of our... Is it? Let me double check. Yeah, 252 is 36 times 7. So this is the 7th eclipse of the... I can't sleep through eclipses, can I? It's the 7th eclipse of this world, and still spot on our 36-day cycle. If you use the upgrades, just right-click them onto the machine. Oh, my sign-off. Probably gonna kick my sign-off every time, isn't it? So the basic one processes up to 4 at a time. And then the advanced one goes to 5. Yeah, it's gonna kick my sign off every time. That's rude. And then there's there's a elite tier which is 7, and unfortunately there's no ultimate tier in this version for most machines. Oh look, a bat. Yeah, thanks bat. Right on time. Just when I needed you. Thanks a bunch. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep, just chill here. Yep. You do you, bat. Alright, see you later. I did learn my lesson and put the signs on the output just now so that when I upgrade them to the elite tier, they don't kick the signs off. Cool. So yeah, elite tier has 7 slots, but running all 7 slots at a time costs 1400 RF a tick, which I can do just, what is my peak output? 900 times 650, 400. So like, I just can't run everything at once, which is fine. We'll make more power soon. Anyways, why didn't that quest complete? Let me just complete that real quick. I don't think I have this problem where often, like once I have applied Energistics auto crafting, I don't put items in my inventory for a second, so I don't complete quests because the items are never in my inventory long enough to do so. Back to the shopping once again then. So setting up these buyers was a whole lot of clicking. Basically for each buyer we have to configure a level limiter, which needs a threshold, an item, and we have to change a mode because the default mode is wrong. Then we have to configure an auto buyer to buy the raw material, and they all, basically each of these mini chests buffers 1 stack of the stuff we're buying. Then we have to take all this stuff and pass it through, at least for now, I'm intentionally choosing a processing method that doesn't produce byproducts so that like this, light only controls whether, or this level emitter only controls whether or not we're making lead ore. So my choice is again to use the enrichment chamber. So let's grab a piece of ore to, well, maybe not that one. Here, let's just use iron for demonstration purposes here. Why aren't you buying? I guess we have enough iron. Right? No? Oh. Oh, come on, don't tell me you reset. Now I have to check all. Whoa, hold on there. If these buyers are resetting on me, I'm going to rage. Why? What's happening here? I literally just set all of these, like, within the last 20 minutes. Is that like a chunk border? No, maybe I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and assume that I forgot a few. But if their settings are resetting, I'm not gonna be happy. You hear that? Stop! Don't reset on me. All right, whatever. So we're gonna buy the ore, pass everything through a, let's see, through the enrichment chamber for there's two possibilities here. Either it produces a dust, which then has to be smelted, or in the case of stuff like redstone, why aren't you buying? Why? Stone ore? Does it only buy if it's empty? Okay, if it only buys if empty, that's fine by me. I'm accepting of that behavior. Anyways, or I guess it buys if it can fit the entire purchase. It only makes full purchases. I accept that. Anyways, yeah, for stuff like redstone, when we put that through the enrichment chamber, we just get the final product. So we will then have to filter, some stuff is done after the enrichment chamber, some needs a smelting step afterwards. There are a couple that behave differently that I just stored here. I'll process these, well, if I need to automatically process these, I'll do it later. Like rock crystal will almost definitely never auto process. But these other ones, like oil sands, probably never will. But if we do, we'll have to use a different step because like the sulfur here, I think it just straight up cannot go through. Yeah, it cannot go through the enrichment chamber. So like if I were to process, I'd probably pulverize it or something. But again, that's for later. So now I need a number of enrichment chambers and mechanism smelters, and I'll upgrade them all to the highest tier. Probably put the working bits on this side. This thing also uses a whole lot of channels. We have 28 channels in use there, again, because of the level emitters, but channels are a resource I have plenty of, so I don't mind using them as needed. First part of the processing is done, I think. I haven't tested it yet. I want to turn everything on at once because I don't want there to be huge amounts of items stuck in the various buffers. In fact, I probably don't even want such a large buffer here. Let's just swap that for a regular size vanilla chest because the items sitting in here are not counted. The size of this buffer basically determines how much we tend to overshoot our target goals. So anyways, all the items will be extracted out of their single slot chests, distributed to these enriching factories. Then coming out of the enriching factories, they will go into this drawer system here if they're able. So that's all the stuff that are processed directly. So mostly just like dusts and similar, gems, that kind of stuff. Everything else, things that are the metallic dusts, will go into this chest where I need to set up a number of smelting factories. I think smelting factories are they twice as fast as enriching factories, or are they the same speed? I'm not sure. Let's just start with 4 of them, and then we definitely need, I don't know, whatever. We'll start with 4, and if it's the wrong ratio, we'll figure it out later. Let's also upgrade our cables before we try to stress them too far. Good thing about upgraded cables too is that they kind of serve as like a cable buffer for energy. So neat thing about these mechanism cables, you can just keep right clicking them with the next tier alloy and they just upgrade in place. You don't have to even tear them up. So I don't know what the total buffer is, but it'll hold a lot of energy, but we're not quite producing that much right now. All right, but I've set up the smelting factories. I just have to wire it up now, and I probably need a whole bunch of item conduit speed upgrades as well. Alright, moment of truth. Time to turn it on and see if it works. So I think if I just connect that conduit, these should start buzzing to life. Alright, we are not working. We managed to make it 0 steps. Why is this? You are inserting on brown. You are all extracting on brown. Do I not have you configured right? That is the back, right? Yeah, back is input, front is... Why you no work? Why am I stuck on the first step? Oh, come on. I'd really hope to get further than 0 steps. We can extract out a mini chest from the top, right? It'd be real awkward if we couldn't. I think the conduits just needed to receive a block update to start going. Because when I placed the conduits, these weren't configured to be input the back yet. I think they were like output the back or something. So they just needed an update. All right, well, we can already see we're out of power. That's good, very good. But this stuff is running along. And let's see, these, I think I put some upgrades in to try to speed them up a little bit. But let's make sure these drawers are starting to fill. That does appear to be the case, at least for some of them. These are slowly starting to fill, and then the ingots, or the dusts that have to get smelted, work their way to here, which eventually spread their way into the various smelting thingies into these drawers. Alright, so as time passes, we should observe that some of these level emitters should start turning off soon. Especially the ones that were, well, those are already off, but the ones that were already close to the threshold. So we should probably see, I think diamond was one that was, or probably even redstone. Oh, I have it set pretty high. Are we close to 10,000 redstone? No, we are not. I guess I'm just gonna let this run a little while. Perhaps while it runs, I'll make some preparations to make more power. It's become quite abundantly clear that we need more power. Yeah, let's do that. But I'll keep an eye on it. I expect to see... Did I see one turn off? No. But soon, I expect. If it's working, these will start turning off. Fair bit of money to buy all of those ores. I think we're like... From the start of the day, I'm like over 1 million in the hole. And some of that is from the ores. I know some of the ores are very, very expensive. Like, zirconium is... How much is it? I think it's $1,000 a piece. So I intentionally have my draconium threshold set pretty low right now because I know this isn't the most efficient way of processing it. Okay, where's my draconium buyer? So I have it set to 1,000, but it's still 500 pieces of draconium ore, which is, you know, $500,000. This is going to sound pretty weird, but to make more power, I want to use water wheels. Probably thinking, water wheels at this point. Well, water wheels are, by the way, this metal press rocks. Hey, don't give me those back. Water wheels are buffed in this pack significantly. Relative to the normal output, they produce 50 times more. So, like a 80 RF a tick water wheel under normal configs produces 4,000 a tick here. So, if I just build a couple 4,000 a tick water wheels, well, that'll. I mean, right now we're only making like 5,000 and change, right? So basically a couple water wheels doubles our energy output, and it's 100% free. What more could you ask for? Hopefully I can just request 24 water wheels. I have 8 dynamos. Yeah, it's just a fair bit of treated wood, but we got plenty of creosote, so there we go. 24 water wheels, 8 dynamos, and I actually want a copy paste gadget, please. This will make building them much easier. If you're going to build water wheels, of course they have to be built above your mob farm. I mean, where else would you put it? So, I set up a capacitor bank here whose purpose is to test the amount of energy we're getting out of these two. Right now it's, well, I guess it's already telling me. We're getting 7,7526 RF out of 2 water wheels. Not half bad, right? A little over 3,700 each. I know you can get more. I think if you, here, let's do this. If I turn off output, it'll tell me exactly how much we're, yeah, 7,526. If I think, put water source blocks into these 3 spots and get a little bit more water. Well, let's just see. Did that increase the amount at all? No, that had no change. Never mind. In that case, let's not put water source block. Well, it makes no difference. To get more energy out of this, we have to do weird stuff on this side. Like, I think it's possible to get a water source block back here somewhere that's flowing the right way to bump this and yada, yada, yada. But I'm not going to bother. The yield increase is very small. What I am going to do, however, is take down this test setup and then copy this into my copy paste gadget and just make a bunch of layers of it stacked vertically. By the looks of things, the copy paste gadget only it doesn't copy tile entities, which I knew that, and I guess the water wheels count as tile entities, so it doesn't copy those. which is fine, I guess. All I have to do now is paste this. Let's set our offsets. How do I do that? Can I automatically have it auto offset? No. Alright, I need to figure out how much offset I need. Some amount of Y and some amount along the... That right? No, I need to offset it now. One more block up and a couple blocks to the right, which is positive Z. One more block up, one more block positive Z. Is that right? Let's use its preview mode. But I think that's where I want the next shell to be. And then we can just stack them vertically indefinitely from there. With each layer making about 7,500 RF, and I have 4 layers, that's somewhere in the vicinity of 30,000 RF a tick. Quite good considering that the cost is nothing. In fact, I think that means I should be able to just like turn this back on. You should run extra fast. Basically, right? Energy black hole. Except as much energy as I give it. So, I probably want to set up some type of flux gates to like limit the amount of energy I give it, so I'm not giving it truly infinite energy. But anyways, I'll deal with that later because right now I want to double check. Come back here, look at this. Are any of you done? Aha, some of you are done. We have enough nether quartz and enough lapis to satisfy our requirements. So we are no longer buying nether quartz and lapis, but we're still working on the others. So these are all... Ooh. Why are you... You have 9,000 peridot. Why are we still buying peridot here? Did I... Oh, because I set you to ore. Ah, I see. Let's fix that really quick. Then we should stop buying this. And I figured I'd mess up, you know, at least a few things. You are still going, probably because we just don't have enough iron yet. And a couple of these other ones, like the redstone one is full, but that's because my threshold is just set higher than 1 floor's worth. I'm just going to go ahead and put 1 upgrade in each of these, I think, just to be safe. Emerald upgrades are cheap and, you know, no sense letting this system get stuffed up if it doesn't need to be. It's occurred to me that Ender energy conduits kind of suck in this pack. Only 4,000. I'm gonna need... So I think what I'm gonna do is leave it such that the backbone of my energy network is universal cables, and only in places where I actually need the like need to run energy cables in the same block space as item conduits or whatever, will I switch over to running Ender energy conduits. In fact, these are still only elite tier. Let's upgrade from elite to the highest tier, like ultimate, because they just have higher internal buffer. 10 million internal buffer per piece? Wow, those are the cheapest batteries in the pack. I can't help but wonder, do the cables cap out on storage at some point? So we're 62 million RF using all elites, and I guess we don't get to see what the maximum is, but we just keep clicking, and then once the clicking stops working, you know, every connected cable has been upgraded, so including the ones going all the way up there and all over the base. I'm going to give it some time to charge up, and we'll see how high it gets up to, I guess. But just based on how little the bar is filled, it's probably upwards of 1 billion. Back here at the smelting farm thingy, I noticed that some of these things output a different ingot than normal. Like this uranium ingot is different from the uranium ingot that I was advertised I would get. So we just have to put a conversion upgrade in some of these drawers. I think like uranium has one, tin has one, a couple different ones. I don't know why sometimes, like it's the mechanism factory doesn't exactly use the right, like according to this, if I smelt it, I should get the thermal foundation ingot, but the mechanism furnace doesn't quite use this recipe mapping. It uses a slightly different one, even though I don't think, like, there's not actually a tab for it, so I don't know. Stop lying to me, mechanism, is the point. But most of our ingots have actually finished making. We see most of our lights are off, which means that we are no longer buying that stuff. There's just a handful more that need to finish up. One last thing to wrap today up. I want to automatically control the running of our mass fabricator or our matter fabricator. Isn't it called a mass fabricator in 1.7? I swear it was. Based on the amount of energy we have in our cable, right? If we have energy to spare, we may as well dump it into here. If the cable buffer is much less than completely full, then we should, use it on something more useful. So anyways, for that, to set this up, I'll use a RF monitor. This can look at the cable. It thinks it's a basic universal cable, but it's actually it's looking at this cable, and it gets to see how full it is. So if it's, you can see, I can base on the slider here, controls when a redstone signal should be sent. So if the cable is less than 90% full, I will send a redstone signal to turn off the matter fabricator, because it only runs when there's not a redstone signal. This is also a manual override, but if I leave this off, then this RF monitor emits a redstone signal out the back because our cable is not full enough, and it'll toggle it on when the cable is sufficiently full, and thus we will only produce UU matter when there is sufficiently little energy to do so, or when there's sufficient energy to do so. Sorry. Yeah. So I think with that, I'm ready to leave this thing running, leave the server running overnight. We'll come back next time after all of this processing has finished. I'm a little concerned that I misconfigured one thing though, but I guess we just hope and pray that I didn't mess it up. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.